there and fabricate that. Unless you say who the person is, I can't comment on anonymous people.
Okay, well, let's talk about specific individuals. What is your relationship with Mr. Su Jurong?
Su? Oh, Su. My relationship? Nothing. He's a tenant in my place, yeah.
And he's a good friend of yours?
Yes, yes, he is a friend of.
I can't take it no more. I can't take it no more. Can't take it no more. Imagine 18 hours a blackout, and you're telling people progress. Cost of living gone up 100%, yet you give public servant less. Mr. President, listen to the people. Search your soul and you will confess. I want you try surviving on the public base, then you're gonna know but stress. Cause I done fed up, you done fed up, he done fed up, she done fed up, we done fed up, the people fed up. You're hiding corruption inside the cup, look how evil set up. The people fed up. They don't drive no fear in the citizen. They may want the people speak out. Freedom of speech done gone inside the gutter. Knock off when you open your mouth. Discrimination in entertainment, and you're talking about one Guyana. When the Ministry of Culture keep the big shows, one set of girls and banner. Cause I done fed up, you done fed up, he done fed up, she done fed up, we done fed up, the people fed up. You're hiding corruption inside the cup, look how evil set up. The people fed up. Every picture you take and promise you make, everything you do is about clouds. Then you come into me for I shake your hand, there's nothing to smile about. Corruption inside every sector, but when it comes to them, they send you. Try investigate efficiency, right? Go talk to Barrett and Sue. Cause I done fed up, you done fed up, he done fed up, she done fed up, we done fed up, the people fed up. You're hiding corruption inside the cup, look how evil set up. The people fed up. I done fed up on the dirty water, low pressure, want scream and tell somebody. Imagine 1500 US, and they're telling me super salary. I done fed up on the unemployment racism and the lie they say one Guyana. Cause when you look with the oil money going, circulate with one set of banner. Cause I done fed up, you done fed up, he done fed up, she done fed up, we done fed up, the people fed up, you're hiding corruption.
My name is Jasniti Kaldata Francis Vietnam, and since 1965 I become a voter, and I always place my X next to the cup, and what they are doing today I can't take it, so I have no more vote to give to PPP anymore. I'm not going to vote anymore no more. If they have to lose by one vote, they're losing it by data. I have none.
Well, that thing says vote APNU AFC. I don't know. It's just, I just listened to Auntie Data and what she has to say. And Auntie Data makes a heck of a lot of sense. She does. She's fed up of the PPP. Aren't we all? Aren't you guys fed up of the PPP? Just take whatever you have out in your dashboard right now. Take your jacket off if you're now coming in from work. Whatever job you do. Just take your jacket off, rest it down, so we can rock and roll tonight on 107.1 FM. Good night to all of you, wherever you are. Lots of things happening, lots and lots of things, and we've got to deal with it. And hopefully we'll have Tom on sometime during the course of the program. And lots of things we want to talk about. I don't know what you guys want to talk about tonight. You want to talk about the fire? Suspicious fire? Is that what's happening again in Guyana? What are we going to hear tomorrow? Another fire? What are we going to hear the next day? another fire? Fires and fires and fires and fires. It makes me want to cough. I don't want to mess my tie up. Thank you. All right? Fires upon fires upon fires all across the country. That is what's happening in Guyana. And now take a look at that school this morning. Mays School. Mays Academy, right? Burnt. I don't know. Beatrice Selby, how are you doing? Fire Nation. Fire Nation. That's what it's about. Look, some folks have texted me and asked if I'm going to be on. Folks just love when I'm on early o'clock, right? Share the link and let the good people know that we're on. And we are about Guyana. We are about saving Guyana. That's what we are about. Not about bumps raising, and we're not fighting for any particular person, individual. That's not us. We don't do that here. We do things objectively, mind you. And the opposition, of course, we continue to say right here on 107.1 FM, the opposition needs to get its act together. That's all. When you say that, some people bumps raised, they think you're against this body, you like this body. Man, I'm just Carl Miller. I'm just tired of those sort of things, right? It's like I'm not in a political game to love and like people, right? I'm just not into that game. Janet Elias, how are you doing? I notice you're calling somebody crew switch and pot spoon and oh man. Oh. Is that what y'all want? Fight in the audience? War break in the audience? Crew switch, pot spoon. All right, Miss Beard, how are you doing? And Patricia Kisoon, how are you? When was the last time we heard about what's happening in the Ministry of Housing? You know, all this person is doing is making silly TikTok videos, talking silly stuff that the PNC does. I don't know why these PNC guys do not make back videos to counter. You know, some of them in the PNC is going to say, it's okay. We don't have to respond to this. We don't have to do this. We don't have. That's what they do. They don't have to do this. They don't have to respond to that. Let this body who resigned go. Let this other body go. Let this one go. Let that one go. Let this one go. I don't know. Some strange folks. But back to this individual. Making silly TikTok makes no sense because the PPP regime cannot show any success story. Right, ma'am? Sorry. Right? No success story. None whatsoever. Bare misery. Misery upon misery upon misery. That is what they're causing in the country. And the opposition is not strong enough to stand up. But when you tell them they're vexed, their bumps raised, they said they're working, and you say, where you working? What you doing? I don't know. What about the lands and surveys and the corruption, serious allegations of corruption? You just hear about it one morning, one night, and that's the end of it. It's done with. I don't know what's going on. What's going on with the opposition? They are quick to fight and cuss out Mati, so to speak. But if they focus and all of their energy in cussing out and fighting the corrupt PPP regime, you know how far Guyana will be? Oh, yeah. You will get the opposition bending on their knees. And then you won't have these crappos talking at all. You won't have them talking. And you won't have certain individuals crawling up, pretending as though they suddenly care about you. Suddenly. Some of these people, most of these people, they don't care about you. It's because they're back against the wall, right? And they're brainwashing some of you. And if they can get more and more of Guyana, they will rush to get it. They don't care about people. One set of people got 80,000, oh gosh. 80,000 acres of land, guys. Do you guys know that is what the Mohammeds got? 80,000. They said it. The old man said it. 80,000 acres of land. And look what the corrupt PPP regime. Look at what the corrupt PPP regime giving small people. Just a little bushy place with just about maybe 40 by 50, and that's it. That's it. And the PPP just giving away lands to their friends and their cronies. That is what it's about. Friends and cronies. And then when they fall out with each other, they expect you guys to help them with their war and the fighting and who got this and who got that. Y'all wake up, people. These people don't like you guys. Take a look at this lady here, Vilma. Vilma, how you doing? Look at what they gave you. Look at what they gave you compared to what they're giving to their friends and cronies. Some of their friends and cronies are crying out and bawling out now and shedding crocodile tears and expect the masses to help them wipe their tears. Give me a break. Give me a break. And then they get one other individual, a long-tongue individual. God in heaven knows what it is stock. They get a difference with social media influencers and influenza, or people who just talk, just gaff. But I'm not into the gaffing business. I'm not into gaff pot business. One little crocodile shedding tears. Oh, Ben Shap don't like the Mohammeds. Oh, Ben Shap, I am not in the business of liking. If you do good, you will be liked. If you're a hypocrite, I'm quick to find out and to, I have this kind of microscope. I know the hypocrites when I see them. I know the hypocrites. I do. Sorry that I had to say it like that. But how are you guys doing? How are you guys doing tonight? Tell me, how are you guys doing? I put this photo up here. Somebody says James Bond. I had to tell them it is not James Bond. He didn't get catch like that. And I got to repeat, look, does this guy look like, we're told that this probably is Freedom House. I had to tell somebody that this is not Freedom House, one, and this is not James Bond. Does this guy in this cage look like James Bond? But yet folks are texting me, asking me, is it James Bond? I'm like, come on, man. Come on. Come on, guys. How are you guys doing again? It's Wednesday, right? And for those of you who celebrate, it's Ash Wednesday. And so somebody sent me a photograph of Jack Dave saying, what is it? Happy Ash Wednesday. Could you believe Asha? Asha is wishing people happy Ash Wednesday. Ash Wednesday. I don't know what's happening. Ash Wednesday. Happy Ash Wednesday. I don't know, man. I don't know what's happening in Guyana. But, hey, have you guys heard about the $4-point-something billion in corruption? Let me see if you guys have been focusing on what that $4-point-something billion in corruption is about. $4-something billion in corruption. Do you guys know? No, it's not no 80,000 lot. Not no 80,000 lot. 80,000 acres. It is almost as big as Georgetown. Someone said it's 3 times as big as St. Kitts Nevis. It's probably bigger than Grenada. Almost close to be bigger than Barbados. 80,000? 80,000? And you're crying out and feeling sorry for certain people? Where were they when the people needed help and injustices against everybody? I saw Civic. Civic is with us tonight, right? Well, y'all know Civic is a Trump guy, right? Civic is my friend. And we can't go against fighters. Civic is a fighter. Civic was asking the Mohammed them, where were you when they kick out? Kick them out their house, kick them out. And the truth of the matter, though, Civic, certain people don't care about the ordinary people. Certain people don't care about struggle. Certain people, they may pop up now at a vigil and so forth. It's brainwashing you guys. They just don't care. Annette Cummings is saying 80,000 is a crime. 80,000? I'm gonna lie, man. 80,000? But sometimes you can't blame people when they get these things too, you know. It's corrupt government officials that you got to blame, because hustlers will hustle. That's what hustlers do. They hustle. And if hustlers can get 80,000 acres of land, and the ordinary man, woman, Nancy, you name anybody, Nancy, Ivor, Deborah, Annette, all these names, Wanda, Hazel, Petula, Carl, Lorraine, Nadia, Dawn, Princess, Shondell, all of you guys, Winston, Ian, do you guys think you could apply right now? And all those people who run out in Linden, welcome to Linden, do you think you could go right now and get a piece of house lot? No, you can't. You can't, guys. Somebody's asking how much sheriff get. Y'all will get belly walk. Right now, the war that is going on is not a war for any justice or anybody like you or anybody like Guyana. Or it's a corruption. It's a war amongst themselves. It's greed. Who get more than who get more than this? And they're using you guys, the ordinary folks, to fight their battle for them. And the splashy thing. And you roll up in a fancy car. Yeah. Y'all stop with it. Yeah. Stop with it. Stop being used, guys. Stop being used. Marcia Jackman, can I get an amen from you? Turn to your neighbor and say, stop being used. Tony Hack, pay attention. Turn to your neighbors and say, stop being used. Stop it. Nancy, turn to your neighbor and tell them right now. Y'all take y'all jacket off and tell them, stop being used. Stop it. People don't like y'all. Suddenly you think somebody walk in your house and want to hug you and kiss you? Want to hug you and kiss you and think that they like you? If I walk in a stranger house just like that, come on, man. Stop being used. Stop it, y'all. Stop it. Stop being brainwashed. Not everything that glitters is gold. Stop being brainwashed. Stop it. Sorry that I'm yelling at you guys like that. Guyana could only get better when you have good leaders. Not wishy-washy people that y'all want to take and put on a pedestal and say president and this. That's the Guyana y'all want for y'all children? That's the Guyana y'all want for y'all children? Any Mickey Mouse just like that? President? Yeah. Y'all stop it. Where's my Emma, Jonathan or Ryan or somebody? Get me a bottle of Advil, please. I need to go on with this program. Or can somebody message Wayne Caesar, not Wayne Archer. Wayne Archer get your own problem with Sally Pentatom. Message Wayne Caesar and tell him we need him on this program here tonight. Somebody message Wayne. Our operator has quit. We can get enough gold money for it. Good night again to all of you. And thank you so much for those who have already shared the link. Thank you so much. Let me see what my friend Commissioner Cole is saying. Aren't you gold, Ben Shop? Look, Commissioner Cole, don't make them jokes with me. Don't make them jokes with me before I send my driver with my Lamborghini to pick you up. Right. 80,000. Y'all talk about that. 80,000. We're going to try to get Wayne Caesar. 80,000. What y'all think about that? And then these are the people who want y'all to jump and defend, use y'all like shields? That is what y'all turn? Shields? Give me a break. One of the things the elder Muhammad said, though, was that nobody for the Muhammads, them, has been, what is it? Visa revoked. And when I listen to that crap, a bunch of crap, I'm like, who are these people really fooling? Anyways, let me remind you guys, somebody actually got in touch with Wayne Caesar and our operator, because, you know, we get different operators from Buxton and all over, said that Wayne Caesar will be on. All right, good. We'll see if he's coming on. How many of you guys think Wayne Caesar is going to be on? How many of you? All right, good. So here's what I want to remember: the old man Muhammad tried to convince people, but let me break this down. Just like he tried to convince you guys that nothing is wrong with the sanction, and no. This is what they're saying. This is the U.S. website. The Muhammad abuse of Guyana's gold industry. 80,000. This thing here, I can't get over this thing here, And then some Pakus, some Mickey Mouse, so-called, what they call themselves, influencer. The main one is Sally Penta. He is the one that I'm talking about, Sally Penta. Y'all know who Sally Penta is. Call himself a social media influencer. Oh, Mark don't like the Mohammeds. This is nothing personal for me. That individual is basically a no-com. He even understand his head from his toe and issues. But anyways, look, this is what the U.S. thing is saying. The Mohammeds' abuse of Guyana's gold industry. Gold is one of Guyana's main exports, but it remains a highly fractured industry with small-scale gold mining operations in Guyana, occupying a majority share of the country's gold productions. These small family-owned businesses have informal relationships with larger purchasers, and that's the Mohammeds. That's what they're talking about, not me. They said also, U.S. agencies have said, Mohammed's corruption enabled by Guyanese officials. So there we go again. Without the corrupt Guyanese officials, these Mohammeds cannot be corrupt according to U.S. law enforcement agencies. So it goes hand in hand. And so Jagdier may have a lot to answer. Irfan Ali may have a lot to answer as well. But let us go back, though. Let us go back to what the elder Muhammad said. That nobody close to them, the Mohammeds, have had their visas revoked or whatever. But let me just remind the Mohammeds, let me just remind them that former permanent secretary in the Ministry of Home Affairs, Mae Thomas Toussaint, got her visa, her U.S. visa, revoked. She was detained. Her phone was actually taken away from her by U.S. authorities, not because she is Mae Toussaint Thomas or Thomas Toussaint, mainly because of her connections to the Mohammeds. She has gotten her visa revoked. And she is also being sanctioned together with the Mohammeds. So I just want to remind the older Mohammed that while he is on the verge of some silly PR to brainwash individuals, I just want to remind them of that. And there might be others. There might be individuals who are closely connected to the Mohammeds. And they are individuals, one such individual who is closely connected to Mae Toussaint or Mae Thomas Toussaint, that has been questioned by U.S. federal agencies based on their relationship or his relationship with the Mohammeds. Just thought I'd remind you guys about that. Do not be brainwashed, guys. Wayne Caesar, good night. How are you? You look like one of those professors, but in good university. Not in one of those fake university, bottom house university that the PPP set up in India for people to do their online university degrees, but it's somebody bottom house in India, and they're charging taxpayers of Guyana over $4 billion for those fake universities. Mr. Caesar, good night, and how are you doing, sir?
A pleasant good evening to you, Mark. I am doing just fine. Let me just give a quick shout out. Beatrice Selby, I'm not asleep as yet, but thank you. You woke me up. Winston T. Jacobs, thank you, sir. Yes, Mark, I'm doing fine. Good evening, everyone.
Thank you so much. But what do you think, though, Mr. Caesar, about the $4-point-something billion being spent on fake universities set up mainly in India?
You know, Mark, it's funny that you're going to spend all that money out in India when we have the need that we have in Guyana, right? We can do with subventions to the Critchlow Labor College that could be increased. We can have additional classes at Critchlow Labor College for Guyanese. We could also put more into the University of Guyana, to kind of edify and build our people up. We are playing behind right now. Okay, so in order for us to get on par, you understand me, we need to make sure that we're spending our monies correctly. Now, the Guyanese people has been dealing with the PPP for 23 years, and this 5 years living in poverty, 53% of them. Okay, and before you take care of that issue, you are sending money out to India. India have a pretty solid economy and a lot of people. They can handle themselves. Guyana should
Wayne,
not be
I don't know what's going on. Wayne, sorry, I don't know what's going on with your internet. 1 second, please. I don't know what's going on with your internet. It's sticking. It's like you broadcasting. You in Buxton or Plaisance tonight? Or you in one of those little university shops in India? Your internet.
Buxton.
Go ahead, Wayne.
Yeah, no. I was saying, we're dealing with less than 1 million people, It should not be an issue, Mark. Look, the oil revenue is bringing in monies that we have never seen before in Guyana. Where the money is going,
it's bringing in that. But the PPP and their goons are stealing the money. 95%, 98% of the money they're thieving. They're a bunch of thieves, vagabonds in the PPP. Guyana shouldn't be the way it is. Citizens shouldn't run in long lines for $100,000, 100,000 Guyana dollars. What is your take on all the long lines and the corrupt practices with this 100,000 grant, sir?
Well, Mark, look, we all know that it wasn't well planned. Like I said before, in order to have a complete government, you need the lead party engaging the opposition party. That has not been happening. So you cannot, you do not have what would I say, collective thoughts coming together to make these decisions. The thoughts are very unilateral and one-sided. So therefore, it doesn't surprise me with what is happening here. The PPP, look, these guys didn't expect, first of all, to be sitting in government, although they rigged the 2020 elections. They didn't expect it to work. It worked. They weren't prepared. And the Guyanese people are facing the repercussions now. This is what is happening. Nothing is going to work properly in Guyana, Mark, until there is a proper structured government. It's not going to work. This 100,000, it's been a total disaster. You got people coursing, people fainting, all kind of things. People showing up there, their names are not on the list. And
here the level of corruption as well. As long as you're connected to somebody in the PPP, not only folks over 18 getting 100,000 cash grants, babies are getting the cash grants too. 2-year-olds, 3 years of age, 4 years of age. Somebody just texted me and said their neighbor get 2 little kids, 2 and 3 years old, and they also get 100,000 cash grant. It is happening throughout the country. It is corruption. That is what it is, Mr. Caesar. What are you hearing in your neck of the woods, where you're from, Plaisance area? What are people saying about the 100,000?
Well, Mark, first of all, some people don't know where to turn, like for the elderly and stuff like that. Elderly individuals, they pick up a pension, okay? So you know where they're going to be receiving their monies from. The cash grant check should have been brought to that office that elderly individuals, retired individual pensioners are picking up their pension. So when they pick up their pension...
Not only pensioners, if you have dead relatives, and thanks for that reminder, Egerton David. If you have dead relatives, get a list of all your dead relatives and either send them to pick up their cash grants, or you can go yourself or send Gavin.
So wait.
Dead people.
Yeah. There are people. Also, so then this is consistent because people did vote at the 2020 election. So they're on par. The PPP is on par here. The PPP is on par here. Corruption, corruption, corruption. But here, man, like I said, Mark, we're going to slap the brakes on that runaway train called the PPP.
No. Mr. Caesar, I want to hear about slap the brakes, man.
All right.
We slapping what brakes? People think we just talking, especially on the ground. What brakes we slapping? How could we slap the brakes, man? Talk to us. But before you get back to that, put a just mash the brakes on that. 6-1 dead voters. There were more dead voters in the 2020 elections. Jack Dale and the PVP and Irfan, they know about dead voters. So they're now saying that if you have dead relatives, take their ID cards and pick up the $100,000 as well. What are we slapping the brakes on, Mr. Caesar?
Nice. We're slapping the brakes on the PPP as a government, Mark. Mark, listen, a lot of people right now, their confidence is somewhat low. But I'm telling you, man, I don't know if it's hype, I'm hyper tonight or whatever, but I just have a feeling that the opposition, man, is going to sweep this thing. All right? The Guyanese people have been struggling. I mean, come on, Mark. They can't be that much lacking in knowledge.
Gonna sweep what?
The 2025 elections, Mark.
All right,
Mark,
look,
I'm
let's talk.
I'm looking into the camera. The
Let's talk.
2025 elections.
Let's not allow emotions. I'm gonna sweep and so the opposition is, or the PPP is on the verge of losing the elections. Now, if the opposition get their act together, then there's a high possibility that they could kick the PPP to the curb. However, if they don't get their act together, then they're going to have to stay where they are. But thus far, are they getting their act together? But let's not talk about that now. Let's get back to the 100,000 cash grant.
Okay, Mark. What about $100,000 cash grant?
It looked like you lost your script there for a moment.
No, you said let's get back to the $100,000 cash grant. Do you have a follow-up?
No. You lost your script there for a moment.
Mark, look, if you look at the $100,000 cash grant, something else that was wrong with that.
What else?
Is that the PPP was not in touch with the financial institutions either, because the banks were not ready, okay, for such a cash grant. The banks in Guyana were not ready for that. They're not accustomed to that, Mark. Okay, and when I look at the banking system in Guyana, I can see that there's a liquidity issue in the banking system in Guyana. I can see it. Okay, so there's a lot of things that needs to be done. You need to have knowledgeable people who has an economic compass and really understands how economics work. You cannot put somebody out there who comes and speak every Thursday, a fake economist, and expect a country, to be successful and to grow, right? Hence the reason Guyana has been in the stagnant position that it has been in. Look, people try to call this guy a genius and our VP and all kind of thing. This guy been sitting there for 23 years, man, calling himself an economist. And look at Guyana. Look at Guyana. There is so much that we can do with the revenues that we have coming in. We should have our own little medium-sized refinery. And Mark, since we are on this thing, I'm just gonna pivot back to what Tom Anderson would have said on which day Tom was on. I think he was on Tuesday, Mark, when he talks about the US dealing with Russia and the oil industry in Russia opening back, Mark. That can be bad news for Guyana. And it lines up with something that I would have said, that there's a chance that this oil well comes and goes and the Guyanese people gains no equity whatsoever from it. So I hope Guyanese are opening their eyes and they're ready to vote the PPP out, Mark. I am confident. Well, that is where the confidence level builds up. That the Guyanese people are upset with the PPP, and this is where the opposition need to do much more. This is not to say that they're not doing more. I noticed one. I wouldn't say it's a LBB, but the usual
the usual, what is it? They follow the leader, kind of is in his DNA. Sean Anthony Ben is saying, what Sean Anthony Ben is saying, time to start inspiring confidence. You need to send that message to your folks, them, Sean. It's not me or Wayne Caesar's job to inspire confidence. It's your elected officials. It's your people on the ground. Your leaders need to inspire confidence in the people. That's not my job. Sorry. Sorry at all. This is not like a body shop where you knock two things on a car and fix a car. It's politics. So you tell your leaders them to inspire confidence. That is what they need to inspire in the people. That's not my job. Thank you. All right. So let's move on here, as we want to go back to the University of Guyana. We're not hearing much about the free education. I know it's something that you have been campaigning on and championing for quite a while as well, right here on 107.1 FM. But it's like a dead issue. The PPP regime know nothing else. They don't know what to do other than to say free education at the university level. But they failed to tell people that it was under the PNC that free education from nursery to university, and they, the PPP, are the ones who took that away from the Guyanese people. Why do you think they're so silent on university, free education, the reinstatement of free education?
Well, right. First of all, free education indeed, Mark, was a reintroduction to the Guyanese people, and shamefully so, because Guyana would have fallen tremendously behind with those years lost, that we had a lot of intelligent people, who wanted to go to university but could not do so because of lack of funding. So with this free university thing, though, Mark, you see, this is where I like the Guyanese people to be transparent. Now, like you said, we have been championing this. A lot of us across the board, has been championing and calling for free education at the University of Guyana. So to the extent students are able to go and it is free, that's where they should be transparent and say, well, hey, look, at least, get on one of the shows and message and say, hey, look, this is a process. So, free education, it was a good experience, or, hey, man, they're covering free education, but not all the fees, whatever it is. Be transparent. When we fight out here for people, Mark, and there are many others that we fight for them, and then you just don't hear back from them. There's no thanks to the public. And when I say we fight for them, I'm not just talking about
lots of them are also in the opposition about
I'm talking about
like
the public.
Lots of them are like that. Good night, guys. Again, welcome to Straight Up on 107.1 FM. I see, who is it, Brenda Hallin, but talk about Grange and the list, stop attacking. Where these people come with this sort of nonsense? Now they want lists. What the list could do to change anything? This is an elections year. Come on, get real, guys. Get real. We haven't been hearing much about this situation here. These are individuals who have been persecuted by the PPP regime. And this word persecuted, now I heard it used by the Mohammeds. They feel they're being persecuted, but they got to fight their own battle with the PPP. Mm-hmm. But nobody seemed to be talking about the persecutions of these individuals, trumped up charges against them and all manner of things. What is your take on what's going on with these individuals who are being persecuted?
Well, Mark, the PPP is just dragging this out. I strongly believe that there is no evidence whatsoever. But what I am looking to see is what the end result is going to be. Because first of all, when you speak of Ms. Roxanne Meyer and Mr. Keith Lowenfield, they would have both lost their jobs. Okay? When this saga is completed, I expect to see massive lawsuits against the state. They should sue the state. And to the extent that there is a new government, that government should pay them. Okay? That government should pay them. These type of stuff cannot continue to happen, Mark, in Guyana, and people just lose their careers, and their lives are changed forever. Plus, to add to that, defamation of their character. Okay? So I believe that these three individuals can bring massive lawsuits against the state for defamation of character, amongst other things.
Yep, and depriving them of jobs and so forth. Roxanne Myers, good night if you're watching. They've even turned it on Paul Slow as well. And I wish the people focus their energy on people who are fighting for them, who are being persecuted. Paul Slow is being persecuted, and these are individuals that we have to be concerned about, not Pakus jump out of wherever and crying out, but persecution now just because they want to brainwash individuals. Folks like Paul Slow. So, Mr. Paul Slow, if you're watching, we see what they're attempting to do with you again, persecuting folks like Paul Slow. And we've got to stand up and defend individuals like them. Those are the people that we have to focus on. Those are the people that we have to focus our energies on. Those are the people that we have to fight for. Those are the people that we want to see put in good positions, because those are the people can make Guyana a better place once again. Let's talk now on 80,000 acres of land one particular set of family got, the Mohammeds. 80,000 acres when individuals are scrambling just for a piece of house land. How does that make you feel, sir?
Mark, I feel horrible. This is just a continuation of the disenfranchisement of the Guyanese people. When you look at the lines at housing and people who have been waiting for house lots, or they've put in since 2008, 2010, 2015, whatever, but they've been waiting, some people for decades, for a house lot. And to know that 80,000 acres of land was distributed to one family, Mr. Benchcop. One family. No, 1 acre of land gives you about 4 house lots. Okay? So what we have, 80,000. Okay, we're talking about 320,000 house lots right there, Mr. Benchcop. Right there, Mr. Benchcop. That is just not right for one family. And then the guy came on the other night speaking inter-camera. You can't speak to the guy.
Wait, dotishness, yeah, my friend. I noticed
you can't
somebody
speak
said
to
here,
these people when you own.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Let me acknowledge a true fighter, Rhonda Lane. And I continue to acknowledge Rhonda Lane, because Paul Slow did say she attended court. If Rhonda Lane is not in court with somebody, and these are the type of people, I wish Rhonda Lane was a member of parliament. They got some people that say when you try to send a message to the opposition, they get vexed, some of them bombs raised and all kind of dotishness. They say, why you don't attack Granger? Well, Granger is not the leader of the party. He might be the leader of the list, but that time coming soon to an end. But what's the purpose of removing Granger of the list? What would that do to fight the corrupt PPP regime? But some of them who now talking from one side to the other side of the mouth, where were they when we were trying to correct Granger? And the very people who are now attacking Granger were the ones attacking people like myself and David Hines and Lincoln Lewis. Leave Granger alone, leave Granger alone. Now they want me to join with them to attack Granger. The Granger deputy retirement. If he comes out back and he is here, the bomb gonna raise. If he becomes the consensus candidate, I am supporting him for president the second time around. So let's go to Rhonda Lane here now. Rhonda Lane said that she went to court with Paul Slow today. Congratulations, Rhonda. You are a true fighter. But what's going on with GCOM? As we talking about Rhonda Lane, let's go over to GCOM. What's happening with GCOM and the biometrics, Mr. Caesar?
Mark, I'm sad to say this, but right now, sitting here, I am of the belief that we will be going into the next election with the same list. Okay? We are going to be going into the next election with the same list.
The same list at GCOM there.
The same bloated list that is sitting there right now with the Guyana Elections Commission. And Mark, you got to figure this, that the PPP was
let me just quickly set Brenda Casey straight and hope this settles everything. Brenda, you're not in authority to tell me who to leave alone or not. Aubrey Norton is the leader of the opposition. He's leader of the PNC. I'm entitled to say whether he's doing good or he's doing wrong. Nobody has that authority to tell me who to leave alone or not. Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Caesar.
Yeah, Mark, as I was saying, I believe that we're going in to the regional and general elections with the same bloated list. That being said, the Guyanese people should not, they still should not lose confidence in the fact that they still have a chance to win these general and regional elections. Look, for the opposition, right, there wasn't any court case brought against GCOM, okay, by the opposition and all the other small parties, okay? There was no court case brought against GCOM. So there would be no movement, Mark, towards getting a new voters list and towards biometrics. I think even Ralph Ramkaran is fighting on behalf of GCOM in court, I think, to don't bring in biometrics into this.
Ralph Ramkaran is just all over the place. He's irrelevant. But go ahead.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion in Ralph. Ralph was Speaker of the National Assembly, he was no different than Mansour Nadir right now.
Right. That is true. That is true. That being said, though, if the opposition can get their apparatus together when it comes to their scrutineers, first of all, let me don't go all the way there. The opposition needs to coalesce. Okay? That's the first thing that needs to happen. And then with the apparatus of the scrutineers, you got to get that right. That has to be robust. Very robust. Remember, you have no biometrics. You don't have a clean list. You're going with a bloated list. All right? Depending on what time those scrutineers is going to be there, you need to make sure you have tea, breakfast, and dinner on time for them. All right? You can't have them run into the bathroom and leaving things unchecked and uncovered. All right? Because that's when the PPP going to sneak in. Mark, this election has to be well scrutinized in order for the opposition to be able to come out victorious. Again, I still sit here in this belief that there is no biometrics and there's not a new voters list, and the Ghana Elections Commission, outside of Rhonda Lane and the few people that would have been out there with Rhonda Lane over the years, because they've been there for some time now, outside of them, there was no widespread protest. I think when you're infringing on the democratic right of what we call we the people, I believe that if people in Guyana is in touch with their politics, Guyana would have been, Georgetown would have been shut right down, from the courts all the way to GCOM. Okay, because I believe that our judicial system, Mark, in Guyana is tampered with, and it is very, very, very weak. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of judges want to do their job. A lot of magistrates want to do their job. But because it has been tampered with, a lot of those magistrates and judges have been tampered with, so to speak, by corrupt government officials and even corrupt so-called business people. They got certain business people or so-called business people who feel that they could control the Guyana police force when time comes for them to be charged or whatever. There's no charges and people close to them cannot be charged, or whatever the case may be. Absolutely nothing is done. We have seen that over the years, and it continues to this day. And even when you talk about GCOM and the biometrics, we're not seeing much energy from the opposition when it comes to biometrics. We need biometrics. We need a new voters list. That's the list we should be talking about. And sensible people would be talking about that list, the bloated list at GCOM. Why do you think there's not much energy in that regards? We're not seeing it. The AFC, I don't know what they're saying. I don't know what they're talking about. They believe that just a press conference or two press releases and that's it. Where is the energy, Mr. Caesar? Where is the energy?
Well, Mark, that is a very, very good point. Energy needs to come from all around. The energy, everything cannot be laid at the feet of Comrade Norton. I know he's the leader of the entire opposition, but we have free leaders. And Dr. Hines has been playing a very, very important role. He's been keeping his face out there, and keeping hope alive with the Guyanese people. But we need all three of these leaders, operating on one accord. I'm not saying that they're not, but we need to see it. The people need to see the optics, and that would reinvigorate them and give them that confidence that my brother Sean Anthony Ben is talking about. The people need that confidence. They need that reinforcement that, hey, our leaders are working for us.
People do need to see that, and that is why people have been calling out those lazy MPs, because they do have a lot of lazy MPs, and those in the opposition, that is, those are the folks who should be out in front of GCOM as well. And we're not seeing that. We're not seeing that sort of energy, and that is what I'm saying. That is what we're seeing here. We need to see that sort of energy to motivate the individuals. Why is it that even if half amount of the opposition MPs can find some time to spend 1 hour in front of GCOM, but we see just a few people, the likes of Rhonda Lane, every Tuesday, and that's it? It is unacceptable. We cannot accept that as the norm. We cannot accept that when in Region 6 and other regions, people are crying out and people are saying that they're not seeing government officials. All they're hearing about is the corruption and corruption and corruption. But what the people need to see is those MPs on the ground. It is correct that Aubrey can be all over. You can't expect Aubrey to be in Linden, this place, that place, all over. That is why they are MPs. And those MPs need to do their jobs as well. You can't it's not a one-way street. When you're not winning this battle, you're moving the goalposts and saying, well, the people got to be inspired. The people got to do this and the people got to do that. It doesn't work like that. And who bums raise? Well, let them bums raise. Lots more bums going to be raised. Mr. Caesar, go ahead.
Mark, I feel that the leader of the opposition, some of his challenges has been that, some of the MPs, and it's a pretty decent chunk, is not working with it.
Something, Mr. Caesar, something is wrong somewhere.
Yeah, right.
Something is not adding, sir. So something is not adding up, Wayne. Something ain't adding up. I've been in politics. I understand the politics on the ground. I've been around it too long to allow emotions to get in the way or bums to raise and people just running based on emotions without understanding what's happening on the ground, the politics on the ground. And we know some newbies. We know who those newbies are. Good night to some of you newbies. But go ahead, Mr. Caesar.
Yeah. Like I said, it's hindering the work, because if you don't have all your resources available to you, you cannot execute, close to flawless, right? That being said, I want to say this to those MPs, that yes, you're not voted to those positions. You are selected, okay, to be a member of parliament. But let's keep in mind that you all represent constituencies. You all represent people, and the people have an expectation of you. You cannot make a unilateral decision that you don't want to work with a leader. And furthermore, if you don't like the leader, that is fine. But I ask that you respect the position of leadership. Respect the position. Execute your duties. It's okay not to like the person, but you must have a working relationship with that person, because obviously that's your job. And Mr. Benchcap, you talk about all the duty-free this and duty-free that people get, and they receive a salary, so come on, you got to do something. You can't sit there and do nothing. And then when you're going to be replaced by someone else, you argue or you try to defame the party, okay? The PNC, Mark, as a party, and I've seen some of the senior people are resigning and stuff like that. My expectation is to see cultural change in that party. That is my expectation. Okay? I need to see a shift in the culture. Over to you, sir.
I don't know. The culture now is nothing the same. Seems to be the same pattern over and over again. But let's get back, folks. Folks are complaining about the 80,000 acres of land to the Mohammeds. 80,000 acres of land. And this is what the corrupt PPP regime, they've been doing. They go into these communities and look at what they've done to the people of Mocha. Look at this lady. Look at what they've done. And then the court system handed no justice to these people, disrupted these people's livelihood. They've done the same to the people of Linden. Every single day, there's some sort of racial or political discrimination against individuals in the country. People are crying out for justice. People are crying out for equal rights and justice. And this is where the focus ought to be. It ought not to be, in my opinion, on individuals who suddenly want the people to protect them, and they're brainwashing the people as though they really love the people. They're really fighting for justice. They're not fighting for no justice for nobody. They have no history. The Mohammeds have no history of fighting for no justice for nobody. Absolutely none. And it's time that the people change their focus from individuals who don't mean nothing to them and can't do anything for them other than for protection. Look, it hurts my feeling to know that 80,000 acres of land to the Mohammed, and this is how the corrupt PPP regime has been treating people in Mocha, people in Linden, Amelia's Ward Linden, and other parts of the country. Now let's move to Blackbush Polder. It's 9:30 now, but let's move to Blackbush Polder as I get your take on this here. Happened not so long ago.
So it's in the rice price.
The rice price something to do. They go start doing it, man. Somebody, they are talking to why they come tell why nothing. And they come out people every week. Okay.
What's happening there? You know, people throughout the country, they're crying. They're crying out for representation. They're crying out for justice. And those people in Blackbush Polder, in their hundreds, people on the quarantine in their thousands are crying out for justice and true representation. They're not getting that from the corrupt PPP regime. And so the people are just fed up. And that is why I'm saying the opposition needs to be more aggressive on the ground in those areas as well. They need to be more aggressive. They need to be seen. They need to confront the PPP regime. Look at, for instance, with the $4-point-something billion of corruption in this scholarship stuff. There should have been an emergency press conference held by the Shadow Minister of Education to confront the PPP and this level of corruption. But what's happening in Blackbush Polder? Are you surprised there, sir?
No, Mark, I am absolutely not surprised, but like you just said, they're crying out. No representation, nobody didn't come to see them, all of that. Well, here, Mark, the rubber has now hit the road. So what I would like to see those same individuals do is cry all the way to the ballot box and vote the other way. That is what I want to see. I don't want to see them crying and then we run to their aid, but when they get to the ballot box, it's a different story. Should I go at the palm tree? Should I do the cup? No, man. Mark, the cup is broken.
But Mr. Caesar, the message is clear. This is the message. This message, we have been carrying this message almost every night right here on 107.1. It's clear. Can the opposition folks see this? It's clear.
Yeah, my name is Jacinty Caldata, Francis Vietnam, and since 1965, I become a voter. And I always place my X next to the cup. And what they are doing today, I can't take it. So I have no more vote to give to PPP anymore. I'm not going to vote anymore no more. If they have to lose by...
She's not going to vote anymore. And those people in Blackbush Polder are not going to vote, or they're giving the impression that they dislike the PPP regime. But I think you made a good point, though. And we have seen this time and time every elections, especially with PPP supporters. When they go back into that voting booth, straight back to the PPP regime.
You see,
But,
Mark,
but I sense that there's going to be a changing of that sort of thinking. And that is why I'm saying those in the opposition, whether it's in the PNC, I'm not saying that there are not some who are not working. I like Nemo Flu best. There are a few others, just a few others, who are doing what's right. There are some guys in the WPA, there are some guys in the AFC, but for the most part, they need to work. When was the last time you guys heard about the MP in Linden, Region 10, Devon Sears or whatever? But when you call these guys out, people bums raised, they get vexed, they say that it's snakes, them is this. The question is, why aren't they going out and do their work? They're taking a lot of things for granted. They need to be called out. They need to. And that is why I'm saying the opposition needs to be aggressive. They're not being aggressive. This is an election that they can grab, they can get control of. But people need to be inspired. It is not my job to inspire them on behalf of the opposition. I'm a talk show host. I'm entitled to put Lash here, there, wherever. But of course, we're crying out loud. What do you think have we been doing? Haven't we been inspiring people? Look at the amount of people who went out and voted for the local government elections. That we took control. Social media took control for the opposition. Otherwise, it would have been more licks like peas. Wake up, opposition. Wake up. I have absolutely no apologies. None for anybody out there in the audience who think that I'm beating up on the opposition. Yes, I'm beating up on the opposition. Yes, I'm being objective. Yes, I want to see the opposition get their damn act together. And yes, I want to see them kick the PPP out of office next elections. And if it takes somebody like me to beat up on them, but so be it. I will beat up on them until they get it right. They need to get it right. That's all. Mr. Caesar, as we prepare for your closing remarks, sir.
Yes, I would say for the opposition, it cannot be the normal narrative. Okay, there need to be some expert advice, okay, given to the opposition, how to deal with this current situation. I feel as if, there's things happening every week, but they're not being addressed from an opposition perspective. So the PPP continues to somewhat sit in a dominant position because you see every Thursday they have a press conference. Sometimes that press conference
Wait. You call that thing a press conference, Wayne?
Well, it's something, it's a propaganda, whatever, Mark.
That thing is a wishy-washy, that's what it is. That's not no press conference. That Paku. Oh man, Wayne. That's not a press conference. But go ahead.
But Mark, that was just a quick statement I wanted to make there before I get to my actual closing remark, which is regarding what I would have seen in Mocha that you reminded me of. I just want to say this, okay, to the more so the voters of the PPP bloc, that what you have encouraged, okay, to happen to your Mati that votes on the opposition side is shameful because, Mark, we had a coalition government and nobody was persecuted. Even the woman that said that she wanted to kill Mr. Granger, she was not persecuted. Nothing came out of the story. He just said to leave her alone. All right. There was no extrajudicial killings. There was no police brutalizing citizens because remember, Comrade Granger was very, very strict, Mark.
Let me just stick a pin there, please. And let me just caution Francine and who's on welfare and who's on food stamps and these different things. Francine, please let us not go that route. Okay? Let us not go that route where who's on food stamps and Go ahead, please, Mr. Caesar.
Yeah, Mark. Continuing, because we know who most of the voters are on the opposition bloc, right? We know who most of the voters are. We know their ethnicity, although they have voters from all 6 ethnic groups. But now we pivot to the situation with Venezuela. and you look at the Guyana Defense Force and you look at its makeup and you look at who has to rush to the border to defend you, Mark, soldiers that are underpaid, soldiers that don't have a house lot of their own, okay? Soldiers who is not properly able to maintain their family because there's not enough income coming in. Now, Mr. Benchcop, tell me, and you in the audience, guys, you're free to chime in. Tell me, where does that equate to fairness? Guyanese are not receiving enough equity in their own country. And that is exactly what I've been trying to say to the PPP all the time. You cannot make budgets where you're just dealing with infrastructure with 50-something% of your budget, and 64% of your budget 1 year for 5 straight years. And you could not bake into that budget cash grants for the people of Guyana to pull them out of poverty. Free university, Mark, should have started since the inception in 2020. It is too late. The Guyanese people need to understand what is happening here. They are being set up again to be deceived once again. I hope their eyes are open. I hope their eyes are open, because the thing with the PPP, Mark, we can speak how much we want. We can talk how much we want. They're not listening. Okay? With this opposition, okay, and I've seen it with the coalition, they are quite conscious of what people are saying. And what people are saying is taken into account. Understand that the PPP is out there, out in the world, dealing with investors all across the world, taking out additional loans that's going to impact Guyana tremendously, Mark, especially if you see it is that the oil prices decide to drop. We are in trouble. And if Russia oil opens up and dries up Guyana oil, we are in major trouble, because how are we covering those loans, Mark? There is nothing in the NRF, Mark. Where are we getting the money to cover those loans? All right. Ashley Singh, people believe that you're smart on the PPP side, but you're far from smart, sir. Mr. Benchcop, thank you for having me. Over to you.
Yep, thank you so much, Wayne Caesar. Wayne on his Saturday show from 7 p.m. until 8 p.m. This Saturday. Don't forget to tune in right here on 107.1 FM. Thank you so much for your time, Wayne. Even at the last minute, you were able to rush and to be on and to offer your take on what's happening in Guyana in a very objective way. Thank you so much, sir. God bless.
Good evening, Mark. Good evening, everyone.
Thank you, Wayne. And to all of our listeners, thank you all so much. Can better be done? Yes. Can the opposition pull this off? The answer is yes. But in order for the opposition to pull it off, bumps need to go down. The attacks within need to stop. Whether a decision has not been made as to who is the consensus candidate, whether there will be a consensus candidate or not. No one knows whether there will be a coalition or not. No one knows. And for those who are attempting to say that once there is a coalition, they got to be in a position, they got to have a seat in parliament, they got to have a ministerial position. Some of them even want 6 ministerial positions. 10 seats, 6 ministerial positions, and all manner of things. And so the opposition now, they seem to have more of their energy trying to fight who's going to be MP, who's going to be minister. Look, guys, of course a cabinet has to be set, don't get me wrong. But the energy must be on whether you get a position or not, to fight the PPP regime, to have competent individuals, people who can inspire, people who can motivate, to go out there. It's not just one person trying to look good, another person trying to look good, another person trying to pull somebody down in order for them to look good. It's not looking good in the eyes of your supporters. And your supporters are talking. On the ground, they are talking. The people need to be inspired. They don't come on this program for us to inspire the opposition. But what we do here, we inspire people who have been neglected by this corrupt PPP regime. We offer them hope. When some of them in the opposition don't offer hope, we offer hope. That is what we did during the course of the local government elections. We offer the people hope to go out and vote. Come on, guys. Come on. What if social media wasn't in existence? What if you guys didn't have this show and other shows? What would have happened? There are some folks, or a lot of folks, who seem to think that we are the opposition. Now, I'm not saying that I am, or not saying that we are, but for sometimes it appears as though that is what's happening. Because we call upon our politicians in the opposition to speak out. We call upon the opposition. We call upon MPs to take up their positions, to do their things, to stand up and fight the PPP regime. We call upon them to do it. Now, is that a crime to call upon them to do their goddamn job? Or should we just depend on social media personalities? Or should we just depend on Rhonda Lane and just a few others to bell the cat for us? If we are going to do this, then those who are our elected officials, those who we voted for, those who we campaigned for to be in those offices, need to get out of their air-conditioned offices, hit the streets, whether it's Blackbush, whether it's Ituni, whether it's Maibikuri, whether it's Kokwani, whether it's Bartica, wherever. Hit the streets, guys. Now is the time to hit the streets. It is not the time to fight up and beg Aubrey Norton that you want to be MP or you want to be this. Or when that time comes, the competent people will be put in place. There will come a time for that. But now is the time to take your gloves off, put your boots on, and hit the goddamn streets. It's not time to play nice boy or nice girl politics with the PPP regime. Now is not the time for that. Now it's not the time for bickering who this, who that, who this, who that, every day. It's just draining. It's just draining. If that's the case, we might as well just shut up shop. And that's it. And leave it to the loyalists who don't want to be objective, who believe in keeping their heads in the sand. Not Ben Shop Radio and not Mark Ben Shop. I will tell it like it is. Sometimes some of you wouldn't like it, but it's called tough love. Not hate, tough love. I noticed one individual jumped off in emotion realm. Ben Shop hate Aubrey Norton. That's a strong term to use. It's a very strong term to use. And you know what? It acts as a divisive tool. It doesn't bring people together. And that's not going to shift me one way or the other. And I'm not here to talk about no personal conversations I've had with Aubrey Norton as leader of the opposition and whatever assistance that I may have offered privately. I'm not going to talk about those things to justify the stupidity in some individuals. Some of them 1 minute they're done, next minute they come back, next minute they're done. You got to be consistent. And one of the things that you can count on me is being consistent in being objective. There are times when I may say things some of you don't agree with. It's fine. It's fair. That's democracy. It's time that I may say, there are times that I may say something about someone that you don't like. It's okay. Or that you like, sorry. It's okay. You can't expect me to come here every night and praise Aubrey Norton or praise the opposition. It's not democracy. It's not the democracy that I believe in. And if we're fighting for democracy and we're fighting for transparency, then some of you need to be tolerant and understand what true democracy is all about. And now if you need a pro-Aubrey program, you guys at Congress Place could create a pro-Aubrey program. In fact, I gave Aubrey 1 hour. 1 hour. I said, take the hour. Take a Wednesday night, take it. That night, if he does want it, the offer is still there for him to host it, not for somebody else to sit in. And that's when it will be a pro-Aubrey program. You guys need to wake up. Wake up. You can't fight for democracy and then internally you don't want to practice it. And the more you guys continue on the track that you're on, the more people will walk away from you guys. The majority of people are watching and they don't like what they're seeing. Get your act together. I'm out of here. I'll be back tomorrow, same place, same time, and we'll continue more on the 80,000 acres. When the corrupt PVP regime going places like Linden Suicide Highway and taking away people's lands, going into Mucka and taking away people's lands, going into Amelia's ward and taking away people's land. All over it is happening. It has got to stop. One way or the other. It has just got to stop. I'm out of here. See you all tomorrow. Same place, same time. Thank you all so much, and let's continue to keep hope alive. We inspire. Others should follow too in inspiring their support base. God bless.
You could probably, on the maritime area, give Venezuela a channel out to the sea. So you make a slight concession in the maritime area.
Yeah, my name is Jacinty Caldata Francis Vietnam, and since 1965 I become a voter, and I always place my X next to the cup. And what they are doing today, I can't take it. So I have no more vote to give to PPP anymore. I'm not going to vote anymore no more. If they have to lose by one vote, they're losing it by data.
Oh, Jesus Christ, if cost of living double, I don't know what happened. A pound of sugar is $300 already. Flour, everything gone up. Everything just raising. You gotta get about $40,000 for buy good ration. You gotta get 3 man now. A weekend man, a monthly man, and a fortnight man.
There and fabricate that. Unless you say who the person is, I can't comment on anonymous people.
Okay, well, let's talk about specific individuals. What is your relationship with Mr. Su Jurong?
Su? Oh, Su? My relationship? Nothing. He's a tenant in my place, yeah.
I can't take it no more. I can't take it no more. Can't take it no more. Imagine 18 hours of blackout and you're telling people progress. Cost of living gone up 100%. Yet you give public servant less. Mr. President, listen to the people. Search your soul and you will confess. I want you try surviving on the public base. Then you're gonna know but stress. Cause I done fed up. You done fed up. He done fed up. She done fed up. We done fed up. The people fed up. You're hiding corruption inside the cup. Look how we go set up. The people fed up. They done drive no fair with the citizen. They may want the people speak out. Freedom of speech done gone inside the gutter. Knock off when you open your mouth. Discrimination in entertainment. And you're talking about one Guyana. When the Ministry of Culture keep the big shows. One set of girls and banner. Cause I done fed up. You done fed up. He done fed up. She done fed up. We done fed up. The people fed up. You're hiding corruption inside the cup. Look how we even set up. The people fed up. Every picture you take and promise you make, everything you do is about clouds. Then you come into me for I shake your hand, there's nothing to smile about. Corruption inside every sector, but when it comes to them they send you. Try investigate efficiency, right? Go talk to Barrett and Stu, cause I done fed up. You done fed up. He done fed up. She done fed up.